Hey everyone, my name is Troy from Tech Games Etc. And before I start today, don't let none of this gameplay footage fool you. Metro Last Light is not all it's cracked up to be. This game is clearly a rental, if that. Now, let me just be upfront with my final grade as you saw in the title. This game gets a D as my final grade, a D. Now, also, also want to acknowledge, Deep Silver. I also want to acknowledge the developers, 4A Games. I'm not taking nothing away from the hard work y'all put into this game, marketing this game, developing this game. I'm not taking none of that away from y'all. I know y'all worked hard on this game. But Metro Last Light has some gameplay issues. Now, on paper, this game sounds really good. You're coming from a novel. It's inspired by a novel, Metro 2033. On paper, it sounds good. Your main character was a part of this. I'll say this operation to rid the world or Moscow from these aliens. And come to find out, one of the aliens you come in contact with, you realize that you bombed pretty much his parents, and Moscow is full of radiation because of the bombs. There was alien invasion. On paper, this game sounds good. And some of the other things that I like about this game, I loved how the dialogue felt rich. I love how it was written. The storyline was really cool. I absolutely love how some of the monsters in this game was sensitive to light. The environments were incredibly detailed. I love how you can use ammo as currency or as ammo. Like there are military grade bullets you can use for currency. And the shotgun in this game was fun to use. And you can also have 3 gun slots. You can pick and choose what guns you can put in these 3 gun slots. You can carry 2 shotguns that were modified differently. There's customizable weapons and things like that. You can trade in your weapons and things like that. But this is where the game suffered the most, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave my cons in the description box below. And I'm also going to leave some of the things I question about this game. I walked away with like 19 things, but the top 9 are dealing with gameplay aspects of why this game suffered for me while playing it. Because it felt like, in the beginning, I got all up into it like, oh, this feels like Aliens. This feels like Total Recall. This feels like The Thing. And I actually wanted to read the novels. The novel, Metro 2033, to see where everything was going with the story itself. But sadly, I don't play video games for storyline. I play it for gameplay. And so let's get to some of the things dealing with gameplay that were irritating to me and why this game fell to a D. It was teetering on a C minus, but eventually fell to a D simply because what I had to go through as a gamer to play this game. Now let's start off. When you're dealing with this game, sneaking around and stuff, this game gets pretty boring. Like if you don't come out with guns blazing, the story picks up. The story doesn't really pick up. The story is interesting, but the action itself, to keep you interested, really is slow. And this game wants you to sneak around, but if you sneak around, you'll probably be put to sleep. I was actually tired of playing this game. I wanted this game to end sooner, and I'll get to the reasons later. But when you're sneaking around, there's really no type of reward of you sneaking around. You don't get no extra ammo. You don't get a grade. You don't get a score or nothing. So it's pretty much useless to sneak around. One of the reasons the AI, which I'll get to later, but it's just like sneaking around in here is not interesting. It's not like a Dishonored or a Tenchu where sneaking around is actually rewarded. Sneaking around is actually fun. It's not in this one. And so I actually was just going around guns blazing, because if I showed y'all the actual footage of what I went through, you would not be interested in looking at this review. Also, there's really no replay value here, especially for $60. You don't get no multiplayer mode. You don't get no survival mode. You don't get really anything. You get downloadable content, but when I went on the Sony PlayStation site, the downloadable content was actually Ranger mode, which is actually a part of the limited edition. I think if you pre-ordered it, or they had limited quantities of limited edition, where you get a Ranger mode, which is a harder mode than hard itself. You get easy, medium, hard, but you get a really hard mode, Ranger mode, and you get a new rifle, and you get extra currency. If you want to pay for it separately, it'll be $4.99. Okay, so if it's not dealing with the two things I mentioned, multiplayer survival mode, there's really no replay value here. Now, here go another issue. The AI is just dumb sometimes. Sometimes the AI, I believe, is just too blind, too unaware. If you shoot at one part of the map, why don't you just follow the gunfire? They just sit back. They really don't do anything. Now, they do bum rush you sometimes when you're like out and light and everywhere, but overall, the AI is pretty dumb. The fight with Pavel is Pavel. For instance, Pavel, you had to chase him. I don't want to get too much into the story because I don't want to spoil it, especially if you rent this game or buy this game. Now, Pavel is someone you're chasing, right? You get to Pavel, and where he is at, he's pretty much in this building, and he's monologuing. He's talking like, "Oh, why did you follow me? Whoop, 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 whatever, whatever." Now, if the guards on his left and right side and behind you, they're slowly coming out of cover, aiming their rifle at you, coming back out of cover, things like that. If you shoot the guard while Pavel is still monologuing, they don't immediately start firing at you. As soon as Pavel is done, that's when they start to shoot. But by the time he's done talking, you've killed most of the guards, the three main guards. The rest will come out later. But I'm just showing you some of the issues I had with the AI. The AI wasn't as smart at times. And sometimes the AI just doesn't see you when you're in their perethial vision. Like if I see you, it's not dark enough. But your if you look on your character's left wrist, there's a blue light that goes off and on. That blue light, when it's on, you're in light. If you're in shadows, you're in dark where they can't see you. But sometimes during the level design, it was like, okay, I see you, but you can't see me. It's like the attention to detail with AI, I question. Also, this was another huge issue with this game. Some of the levels should have ended sooner, and some of the levels should have been taken out at all together. There were actually 31 chapters in this game, and you would think, whoa, 31 chapters, that's great, that's wonderful, that's spectacular. But let me tell y'all, some of the chapters in this game should have been taken out completely, because it felt like the developers just put this in there to tell the story, but what they did, how they did it, they should have just eliminated it and just put it all in cinemas so you can just be caught up to speed, because the action is way too spread out for this game to be interesting. I wanted this game to end sooner. Like I say before, like I'll say again, I'd rather play a short, good game than a long, drawn-out, boring game dealing with gameplay aspects. I'd rather deal with a short, good game with good gameplay, good storyline, than a long one that feels like it's drawn out, that every minute you want it to end. You're like, come on, another board? And some of the boards, I can count at least 5. It's probably more, but I counted 5, at least 5 off the top of my head, where they could have just ended. Like, ended it all together, put it into a cinema, and move on with your life. Now, another thing, the boss fights felt really weak. When I tell you weak, you don't feel no type of epicness. You don't feel no type of accomplishment. Now, Pavel's boss fight, after you shoot his guards, whatever, I'm sorry for spoiling this game, y'all, but in order for me to make my point, I have to explain this. Pavel's boss fight, right? You chase this guy through I don't know how many chapters. You chase him through the brothel in Venice. You chase him here. You chase him there. You get to his boss fight. It is one of the most unrewarding, unfulfilled boss fights you will ever face. And that's all I have to really say. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's so unfulfilling. Now, another couple of boss fights, you actually fight some creatures, some the dark ones are called the aliens that can read your mind and stuff, but I don't know what you call the other creatures. Are they considered dark ones? How did they get there? Did they come with the dark ones? I still have questions with the storyline. I ain't gonna lie. I did lose some type of I still have a lot of questions dealing with the how did the other creatures get there? Did they come with the dark ones? But you do face two bosses that are creatures, aliens, but they share the same similarities. They bum rush you. There's really no fulfillment in these two boss battles at all. It's totally unfulfilling, totally unrewarding. Now, throwing grenades in this game, and y'all may be saying, Troy, you really stretching it now. Throwing grenades, you really gonna hold it? Yes, I am. Coming from Medal of Honor Warfighter, you know how I love grenades. Now, grenades are pretty much, in this game, I would say pipe bombs a little bit. Like they're in these little silver tubes. But when you throw the grenade, it feels so flimsy. It feels like it has no weight, no trajectory, no accuracy. Doesn't really seem like it bounces. It's like it just sticks to the ground. I can see if you had a little sticky substance on it, but it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And when it comes to throwing grenades, that really took me out of the game. I'm dealing with the gameplay aspect, y'all. Anything that takes me out of that experience, I question it, and I will hold it against the developers. I will hold it against the game, and that's just how I am. Now, another thing, how this game illustrates flashbacks, it pretty much comes off of the heels of wishing this game ended sooner. The way that this game handles flashbacks, they will actually dedicate a whole entire chapter of you just going around looking at flashbacks of when the bombs hit Moscow, when the aliens came, when a lot of things. They took a whole level to explain it, and the level ends. No boss fights. If you face any enemies, they're really few, but there's no meaning at all. What they could have done is just put it all together in one action-packed cinema and kept the action alive, because the collision detection in this game was great. The animations were great. The AI was spotty, I understand, but you could have got away with it a little bit if you would have just taken out a lot of stuff and ended this game sooner. And also, y'all may there's another issue I had. There's no final boss fight. The guy that you're going after, the guy who wanted to start the next world war, the guy who wanted to annihilate people and poison them and things like that, you don't fight him at the end. There is no boss fight. Now, there is a war at the end. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's no final boss fight with the head honcho who started it all. Now, some of y'all might say, Troy, you're really stretching, but I'm a firm believer in that every video game dealing with action, adventure, sci-fi, anything dealing with that has to have a boss fight. Any RPG boss fight. If it's not a sports title, if it's not even a sports title have a boss fight, sort of, you got the championship game. But I'm sorry, the ending was fine, and the ending of it was fine, and something different I haven't seen in video games in a long time. But a nice boss fight would have done it justice. But there you go. There you have it. There go my review. This game is completely forgettable. Um, and that's all I can really say. I thought this was going to be my next binary domain because I love binary domain. If you want, never replayed that game, check it out. But unfortunately, it's not. And there you go, y'all. That's all I have. You can read the rest of my things I question about this game in the description box. And see you later. Thanks a lot.